Welcome once again to the show. So, Libpanic, here we go. One thing I want to make sure people understand is one thing that I do here on the show is we expose the hypocrisy of the left and right, not just the left, but the left and right. So here we go today. I want to make some comments, and by the way, oh, here we go. Look, Bigfoot seen me and nobody believed him. All right, so where I'm at today is I wanted to talk a little bit about the interaction between Lindsey Graham and Mark Zuckerberg. Now, first, I want a full disclaimer here. Later, we don't edit these shows. All right, it is what it is. The gaffes. I just don't think people come here to look at clipped and edited shows. I mean, I just don't think it makes people look, human, appealing, whatever how you want to dress it up, right? So I don't do that. Another thing you won't never see on this show is you won't never see advertisements where sponsors, and I'm talking about their sponsorship. You might see it in the description, or I might be wearing a T-shirt, but no, you won't ever see me promoting anything. So with that said, let's get into what I heard yesterday from Lindsey Graham. And I'm only going to comment on the young man that took his own life, that Lindsey Graham was speaking of, telling Mark Zuckerberg that he had blood on his hands. Now, I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me on this, okay? But bear with me for a second. The first thing is, I think that they ought to put these child traffickers or any trafficker under the jail. But let's be clear. Let's focus on the child trafficking for a minute. Those people, they should get more than life in prison, if you know what I mean. So, with that said, I'm not for that. But I want you to keep in mind that the government, the FBI, and Interpol is responsible for all these Nigerian scams that Lindsey Graham was talking about, that this young man, they convinced him he had a girlfriend, and they tricked him into sending, I don't know, was it a dick pic or whatever? I don't know what the actual pic was. It was compromising pictures. So they convinced this young man to do this, right? And then they held it over his head and said they were going to expose him. Well, sorry, sinuses. Well, okay, fine. Then he pays them the money that they said that they want. Well, you never pay these fucking idiots because they're always going to come back for more. That's just the way extortion works. So he pays them, they come back at him. They're gonna, from what I gather, they're gonna expose him some more. He takes his own life. Young man thinks that trouble right there, or that dick pic that he sent, or whatever picture he sent, was the end of the world, etc. Let me explain something to folks. If that would have happened to me, I'd have told him to fuck off. Send it to everybody. I don't give a shit, because the bottom line is when you cower down, that's like if I cheated on my wife and somebody took pictures of it and tried to say, well, we're going to tell your wife. I'd tell them, well, here's her number. Send it. I don't give a damn. Why? You're not going to blackmail me, because it'll never end right then. It'll never end. It never does. It never will. And trust me when I say, doesn't matter. Let them do it. Because you give them all the power when you cower to them. And trust me when I say he could have went to school. If they started razzing him on it, he'd say, well, you must have liked it. Hey. And just don't let it bother you, because when you don't let it bother you, the razzing stops, because it doesn't have the effect that the other people think it's going to have. It's embarrassing, of course. And I know young people. I've been young once, believe it or not. And I know you think your troubles are the worst in the world. And my heart goes out to the family that had to endure that, because of the Nigerian pieces of shit that have those scams. Not every Nigerian's a piece of shit, but those scam artists there. So, with that said, he ended up taking his own life because of the embarrassment or for whatever reason, in his head, that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. And the embarrassment of being conned. And I remember a friend of mine that was working an investigation one time where a guy, an older man, sent $78,000 to this Nigerian scam. And nothing the local police can do. But back on track, I digress. It is the responsibility of the FBI and Interpol and most likely the CIA. This is cyber terrorism. So who is responsible for taking care of this cyber terrorism? Who is responsible? Who has the blood on their hands? It's not Mark Zuckerberg. And I fucking hate Meta. I think that's the worst company on the planet. But let me just say this for a second. It's not Mark Zuckerberg's fault. He provides a service. They abuse the service. They didn't catch it in time, or they didn't look for it at all. Okay. He can't be held civilly or criminally liable for it. And they're wanting to carve out civil liability conditions for these companies when it's the government's fault. It's not Zuckerberg. It's the FBI and Interpol's fault. It's the government agency's fault that these Nigerian scam artists are still on Facebook. Now, the FBI will target conservatives like a motherfucker, but they don't say shit about the Nigerian people, and you can't tell me that they couldn't shut this shit down, that they don't know where it is. You can't tell me you've got hackers on YouTube right now that shut these places down when the FBI doesn't. Where's their cyber terrorism unit? Where is it? So the fault does not lie with Meta. It lies with our government. And I'm not going to point fingers at one administration. It lies with every administration that has to deal with the internet. That's where it lies. Section 230 was designed, and I don't know if y'all know this or not, but it was created, not designed. It was created in 1996 when all you had was message boards. Now, it needs to be amended. It needs to disallow the removal of constitutionally protected speech, and it needs to be deemed a utility, and it also needs to be used as a virtual square. You can't have it both ways, Republican. Either you want big government or you don't. And you're claiming that these social media platforms are a country and all this. And I listened to Senator Kennedy, which I absolutely adore as far as his positions on things. But you guys are wrong. It's not the social media's fault on this. It's not YouTube's fault. It's not Mark Zuckerberg's fault. It's not Instagram's fault. It's not Google's fault. Where's the parents? Why are these kids using it? Why are you not monitoring what they're doing online? It starts at home with raising your children. And then, if you want to blame somebody for these Nigerian scams that keep operating, then you better blame the damn U.S. government. It's their fault. It's not the fault of these companies. They don't have any arrest powers or interactions with different Interpols. They probably do, but not in this capacity. They should be required to turn over the information on the scam artist. And they are required via subpoena, via a warrant. It's not like these damn companies are not going to give them this information. It's the government's fault. It's Congress's fault. But they want to shift the blame over, and all they do, here's what they do. Here's a problem, and they throw money at it. Or they throw regulations at it. Lindsey Graham's a hack. And Josh Hawley, I'm sorry, I like him on 90% of this shit, but he is fucking wrong on this. It's the government's fault. They're the ones that have the power to shut this shit down, and they don't do it. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to this. If you're still here, thank you for watching. hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm going to put these out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. I mean, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays mornings on these videos. But, folks, let's be clear. Let's put the blame where the damn blame lies. I'm a former cop. I understand that when you're a public servant, why are you not doing anything? Your government agencies went after conservatives, shutting them down, monitoring their ass to death during the election while they were interfering with the election. Why the hell can't they shut down a cyber terrorist like these Nigerian scam artists that convinced that young man that he had a girlfriend that he probably should have known he didn't have, because she was probably, a California 10. Let's just face it, I'm a confident man, but if some chick 30 years old is wanting to, nah. Nope. I'm not a young man anymore, though, I understand that they're still growing, and they're still, and my heart goes out to the families, but it starts at home. Talk to your children about blackmail. Talk to your children about having confidence. And I would, I've taught my stepkids, you don't care what people think. You don't care. Fuck it. Just let the rough end drag, is my saying. So my point being is, folks, is put the blame where the blame lies. More regulation is not the answer, but here's what's going to happen. Everybody's on board. It's bipartisan. Everybody wants to protect the kids. Well, that's fine. Everybody does. But put the damn blame where it belongs. Your 3-letter agencies not doing their fucking job and focusing on all kind of other shit like January 6th that was not an insurrection. It was a major, massive trespass, but that was about it. That southern border we have is an insurrection. Yeah. And all this nonsense about the southern strategy and, Democrats, that's bullshit. It didn't happen. It's a lie. It's a farce. What happened is when the damn Democrats couldn't get the vote out, and they couldn't stop black people from voting, they turn around and start trying to get the votes. And once they got the votes, and there's some quotes that I'm not going to quote from different Democrats back then saying that they would have them voting for the next 200 years. In 1830s, in the 1830s, which you won't hear in regular history, Teresa Marie Matora, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right, was the richest woman in Louisiana, and she was black. She owned over 280 slaves. Don't believe me? Go look it up. Her, William Ellis, there's a bunch of them. So the point being is this. Yeah. They're doing the same thing with the illegals. They're wanting a voter block. They're wanting to bring these people in. New York already lets illegals vote, which is fucking crazy, is what it is. It's crazy. We're not going to have a country if we don't get this, if we don't get Brandon out of office. Yeah, we're not going to have a country. And we need to secure the border. A country without borders is not a country. And I digress. That's it for me today. I'm going to end this at like 14 minutes. Y'all have listened. If you've made it all the way to the end of this, God bless you. Because I probably wouldn't have made it all the way to the end of this rant. But I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And like I said, we're going to put out shows 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday. And I'll see you guys in the morning. God bless you. Everybody be safe. And please understand that you matter. And share the video and hit the like button, because without y'all, the algorithm's not going to pick it up. And we'll get 16 views like we have on a ton of our videos. And I've done these for over 2 years now. And I appreciate all the subscribers that we do have. And again, I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye.